Hello, and let me welcome you to this video about the XFirstOfficer implementation for Colimata Concorde FXP. The procedures are still work in progress, but you can anyhow already download it at explain.org. You will find the download link below in the description, as well as all other links. They are used add-ons in this video. Additionally to the XFirstOfficer plugin by ParrotSim, I use a self-made Lua script which is running on FlyWithLua ng by XFreeze. The functionality of this script is also shown in my recent videos about CBOS Boeing 737-800 and Flight Factor Boeing 767. For some commands, I use a voice commanding tool called VoiceAttack, which is a third-party payware software. I think I will make a separate video in near future about the VoiceAttack software used in Explain, as I got some questions how the voice command is working. But now let's jump into the cockpit and get the aircraft in the air. Okay, we are now in the cold and dark cockpit, and it's time to power up the aircraft. In this early stage of development, that is in the moment only possible via the briefing menu. I have opened now here on the left side. Compared to the Boeing 737, if you have seen the video, there were just the first 4 buttons. Here we have now additionally a short menu to control the first officer and select the next procedure he should do. If one procedure is done, the list will automatically jump to the next procedure, so it is not necessary to select. But if you would need it for any reason, you can do it here in this menu. Yeah, and then just click on the button Start Procedure.
Starting power up procedure.
The first officer will switch on the batteries.
Captain, please connect GPU.
And now he's asking for the GPU. Therefore, we can go to the overhead panel. I have implemented a function to this ground call button, to this yellow one. When we put this button, we get the menu for the doors and ground services. You see I have all the ground utilities already in place and the doors open. Just the GPU I haven't connected. To show you this function, now I connect the GPU, and the first officer and the flight engineer continue with powering up. And when we close this GUI of Colimata, the button jump out automatically. Okay. While the first officer is powering up the aircraft, we can go to the briefing menu and do the first settings. We go to flight information and select the Concorde. Concorde is now recognized that the plugin in the background is running.
Power up procedure complete.
For the flight number, I take test 01. We have now here the call sign, test 01, and additional heavy, because it's a heavy aircraft. The parking position in London Heathrow is gate 330. The destination is New York. And the cruising altitude normally for Concorde is 60,000 feet. Here the call sign down left we will unshow. And we are finished with the flight informations. Then we go to the weather informations. I picked it from SimBrief. Because of the winds, the runway in use is runway 09 left. Transition altitude I keep at 10,000 feet as we are not flying with ATC. Wind information. Wind is heading 080, 06 knots. Temperature is 25 degrees Celsius and dew point is 7 degrees. The QNH is 1022. Okay, so that is done. The power up procedure is also done by the first officer. The onboard navigations are aligning, but I use the navigation system. Go here to the settings from Philip, the Philips receiver I've activated, so that I have to put on separately. We go here to standby and we have to enter the coordinates for London Heathrow, our position, and I will pick it here from this navigation system. So we put in north 5128.4, insert, and it's west 27.7, insert, and go to align. Then we go here to distance time. Here we see the aligning status and we will wait for this green light coming on. Meanwhile, we can close this. So one more thing missing is the lights of the instruments are on the center panel and the first officer panel. We have to switch on our side by ourselves. So now we have some lights on the instruments. And then we go to the next procedure, the preliminary cockpit preparation checklist. That is already pre-selected here in the briefing menu, and start procedure.
Preliminary cockpit checklist. Technical log checked. Ground power on. Main batteries on. Equipment bay cooling panel set. Oxygen panel checked. Drain master heaters checked off. INS 1, 2 and 3 select align. Air data computers on. Emergency equipment checked. No smoking sign on. Fasten seat belt sign on. Preliminary cockpit checklist complete. Waiting for departure briefing is confirmed to setting up AFCS.
Okay, so the preliminary cockpit checks are done. Now we have to enter the parameters for the departure, and then the first officer will continue. We go here in the briefing menu to the departure menu. Here we have the request phrase when we would use ATC for the delivery. Then we have for the clearance, we would get the destination, New York, from the ATC. Then we would get the departure route. It's Compton, VRR, and the route is 4 kilo. That is the standard instrument departure. Runway 09 left, and the initial altitude I pick 6,000 feet. Squawk code 1200. This set button on the Concorde is not working in the moment, so we have to enter the squawk by hand, but the first officer will do it on the final version. So 1200. Then we go to departure config. Minimum takeoff fuel we keep as it is. Elevator trim, I'm not sure at the moment how to set or on which value to set the trim for takeoff, so in the moment I always keep it at 0. Here's a new option only for the Concorde. On the other planes here is normally the flaps configuration, but for the Concorde we have no flaps, but we can select for departure if we would like to start with reheaters or without. That will make a difference for the secondary air doors for the takeoff. But the normal procedure is to have the takeoff with the reheaters on. Okay, then V speeds. Therefore we have to configure the aircraft for the departure. So we go to flight preparation and to the payload manager. I will put as many passengers as possible, 111. Then we put some more payload in it and apply. The aircraft gets loaded now with payload, and we need some fuel. And I would suggest to put some more taxiing and takeoff fuel in it, and also some more fuel for the initial climb phase. Okay, apply. And now we would have a flight plan, and when we go to page 2, we have now here our V speeds for the takeoff and 4 engines running. So we put in V1 162, we rotate 180, and initial climb will be 193, it's V2. And normally I put on the auto throttle for 250 knots after the initial climb. So I put for the initial climb speed 250 knots in it. Runway heading is 090, and the initial altitude is given by the ATC clearance 6,000 feet. We won't use anti-ice, it's anyhow not implemented yet. Okay, we keep it open, and on the end we confirm the briefing, and the first officer will continue to set up the AFC and also the altimeter for the altitude for the barometric.
Briefing confirmed, setting up AFCS.
Okay, he's now setting up the speed, the heading, and he was pulling the heading knob.
Pre-flight preparations complete.
Perfect. With the pulled knob, the autopilot would follow this 090 degree heading if you push the track heading button. Okay, altitude is entered and the QNH. Perfect, all done. The next we would need is to enter some waypoints. I will not do the complete flight, but we will go supersonic, so some waypoints I would need. Enter the navigation system again, then we go to waypoints. Waypoint 0 is the actual position of the aircraft. We go to the first waypoint to enter it, and the first waypoint is Malby, and the coordinates are north 5135.3 3, insert, and it's west 2, 3, decimal 4, insert, next waypoint is Kesup, north 5119, decimal 3, insert, and west 3, 3, decimal 9. Is this correct? I hope so. Have to cross check with the decimals. Nope, that wasn't correct. Again, west 3, 3, 9, decimal 2, insert, and I think that coordinate is also not correct. It's west 2, 3, 4, 2, insert. That should be correct. And the third waypoint I put in early. It's north 5119, 6, insert, and west 5000, insert. Okay. The INS is now ready for navigation. We have the green light, so we put it to nav. Perfect. And actual position, and close again the window. These ones are also green, so that means we are ready for departure. And we go for the next checklist, the before start checklist.
Before engine start checklist. Cockpit preparation.
Complete.
Complete. Oxygen.
Checked.
Checked 100%. Windows closed. Flight control inverter switches on. Flight control augmentation system on. Anti-stall systems on. Navigation source radio set. Instrument transfer switches.
The instrument transfer switches are the flight director switches here on the captain's side and here on the first officer side. So we keep it on flight director 1 for this side. Set.
Set. Altimeter set 1022.
That's correct. Checked.
Checked. Audio panel COM1 not on.
Okay, that we have to switch manually on. It's this blue button. Checked.
Audio panel COM1 on. Navigation radios.
Navigation radios. So we will depart Compton 4 kilo, and therefore we have to set the radios. Compton VOR is on frequency 114.35, and the track is 281 to this radial. Oops, 281. So the radios are set.
Set. Brakes park. Navigation lights on. Throttle masters, set main.
The throttle masters, set main, checked.
Checked. Ground hydraulic check out, yellow yellow off. Fuel heaters auto. Secondary air doors, for takeoff with reheat, auto.
Yeah, that was the thing with the two options for the takeoff. We can, in the checklist, it's the secondary air doors, and we have configured to take off with reheat, so the secondary air doors have to be auto. The first officer is asking us for this option to be sure that we like to depart with this option, and we confirm that. Checked.
Checked. Batteries on. INS 1, 2 and 3 checked, ready, green light on. INS 1, 2 and 3 compare present position.
Okay, we compare the positions. That's okay, and we compare it also with the zero navigation, and that is correct. Checked.
Cross-checked. INS 1, 2 and 3 waypoint coordinates.
Checked.
Cross-checked. Ready for navigation.
Okay, flight engineers now
INS
switching
1,
all
2 and 3 set to navigation.
to navigation.
INS 1, 2 and 3 ready, navigation light off. ASI bugs and pitch index.
ASI bugs and pitch index. HSI is okay, and pitch index we keep on 0. Set.
Set. Fuel flow bugs.
I have no idea what to do with the fuel flow bugs, but maybe you can give me an advice in the comments for what this setting was. I haven't found any information till now, so I keep it as it is. Checked.
Set. Clock.
Checked.
Set. Load sheet.
Checked.
Cross-checked. Fuel remaining, 92,981 kilogram.
Checked.
Checked. Zero fuel weight, 89,082 kilogram. Center of gravity, set 52.8%.
Okay, that's correct. Checked.
Cross-checked. Takeoff data, speed, 250 knots, initial heading, 090, initial
Okay.
altitude, 6,000 feet.
Checked.
Checked. Doors not closed.
Okay, so now we have to close the doors. We go again to this yellow ground call button, and let's close all doors and hatches, and we remove also all the service from ground. The only thing we need for starting up the engines is the GPU. So all other is disconnected and doors closed. Checked.
Door lights checked. Warning lights.
Checked.
Checked. Master warning.
Checked.
Checked. Navigation and beacon lights on. Throttle levers idle. Start clearance.
Received.
Received. Before start checklist complete. Cross bleed open. Engine bleed open, ready to start inner engines.
Okay, what I have forgot now is to request the pushback track. That I will do now. Request pushback. Request pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Okay, and meanwhile we continue to start the inner engines. Then we will disconnect the GPU and start with the pushback and start the outer engines afterwards. So we are ready. Continue.
Starting engine number 2.
Flight engineer
N2
is
rising.
open the start valve.
12%
is rising.
N2.
And we open the fuel valve. The engine fire detection is always on for the
Okay, all
first
doors and hatches are closed.
30
Ready to
seconds of the
connect.
engine start. That is normal. Now the light is off. It's perfect. And the engine is lighting up. It's a very cool sound on this engine startup on the Concorde. It's very unique.
Engine number 2 stabilized.
After the engine start, the flight engineer
Starting engine number 3.
always switch on the hydraulic pumps and do the bleed
N2
air stuff
rising.
and the generators. And then initiate the start for the next engine.
12% N2.
12% N2, so we open the fuel valve. And on 66% N2, first officer will call the engine start.
Engine number 3 stabilized. Ready to disconnect the GPU.
Okay, so we disconnect the GPU.
Call continue for engines 1 and 4.
That we will do after we have started to push back. Start pushback. Start pushback. Voice command is not working. Let me check which command I have for the better pushback to start. Connect tag. That is what we have done before. Start pushback is Control P.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Okay, route is entered, so press
So connected
enter.
and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake. Starting
Brakes released.
pushback.
And we can continue to start the outer engines. Continue.
Starting engine number 1. N2 rising. 12% N2.
Let's take a look outside. An incredible view from the pushback truck.
Engine number 1 stabilized. Starting engine number 4. N2 rising. 12% N2.
Sometimes a little bit weird what the pushback truck is doing on the Concorde. But anyhow, it's a very nice plug-in, this better pushback. I like it very much.
Engine number 4 stabilized.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, brake set.
Disconnecting
Engine startup
tow.
complete.
Stand by.
After start checklist. Electrical SSB closed. Shed galley generators 1, 2, 3 and 4 on. Water heater on. After start checklist complete.
Good. Then we wait for the pushback truck that is disconnected. Before we continue.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Okay, then we continue with the next checklist. Next checklist is the before taxi checklist. Start procedure.
Before taxi checklist. Engines 1, 2, 3 and 4 running. Nose wheel steering.
Okay, we have the clear signal. Nose wheel steering. I'm not sure what to test, but I test my nose wheel tiller. I think it's working, so checked.
Checked. Flight controls AFCS and trim.
Flight controls. Check. We see it here on this display. The L1 movements. Okay, looks good. Rudder. Both are traveling good. And AFCS is set for the moment, except flight directors we put on now. Okay, checked.
Checked. Master warning panel.
The master warning panel we have checked. Checked.
Checked. Engine anti-ice off. Engine control schedule flyover. Brake fans on. Engine idle switch low. Stall warning tested and off. Engine feed pumps all on. Hydraulics checked. Electrics checked. Nose 5 degrees. Flight instruments.
The flight instruments are looking good. No flags. Checked.
Checked, no flags. Flight control AFC blue and lights out. Trims.
Trims. Checked.
Checked, set for takeoff. Clear signal.
We have received.
Received. Before taxi checklist complete. Taxi lights on.
Okay, then let's taxi out to runway 09 left. Taxiing the Concorde is a really different feeling to all other aircrafts I have tried till now, because the cockpit is so much in front of the nose wheel. It's really funny to taxi. Normally I come too narrow. Let's look outside. Yeah, and again. But it's okay. Okay, we will now configure the rest of the autopilot. After we have reached our 250 knots, I like to use the IOS hold, so we go to IOS acquire for now. And when we have the 250 knots with the auto throttle on, the autopilot will change to IOS hold. Then I switch on VOR and localizer to capture Campton VOR. And I switch on vertical speed and increase the vertical speed to a climb rate of initially, after we switch on the autopilot, of 1500 feet per minute. Okay, we keep it for the moment. And we start the next checklist. It's the taxi checklist.
Taxi checklist.
Fuel trim 2, takeoff.
Engine rating mode takeoff set. Auto throttle on. Auto ignition on. Throttle master main set. Drain master heaters on. Engine flight rating climb set. Press static heaters on. Adds engine probe heaters on. Engine 4N1 takeoff limiter set 88%. Air condition panel checked. Fuel panel checked. Anti-skid system no lights. Reverser shut off.
Reverser shut off. Let's test. Reverser is activated.
Reverser retracted.
Checked.
Checked. Throttle mid-travel forward.
Let's check. Mid-travel. Okay. Checked.
Checked. Seats and harness checked. Tank 11 fuel amount checked. The air tanks set. Center of gravity, 52.9%.
It's okay. Checked.
Cross-checked. Main transfer pumps 5 and 7 set. Taxi checklist complete. Call continue for transponder.
Okay, the transponder we will activate short before the holding of the runway 09 left. Continue.
Anti-collision lights on. Transponder mode Charlie call continue on line up.
Okay, approach sector is clear, so we are lining up. Continue. Continue.
Before takeoff checklist.
Approaching.
Landing
on
lights
runway. 09
Transponder
left.
on and altitude. Brake temperature warning lights checked. Reheat switches on. AFCS values.
AFCS values 250 knots, 090 heading, course 1 and 281, and initial altitude 6000 feet. That is okay. Checked.
Set.
3, 2,
Takeoff
1,
monitor armed.
now.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
And we have to take off. I don't understand this takeoff monitor thing
Airspeed building.
for the call out 3, 2, 1 takeoff. What it's the band.
100 knots.
Power set.
So what is the trigger for this event? I don't know.
Rotate.
Okay,
V2.
rotate,
Positive climb.
positive climb. Okay, gear up. Gear up.
Gear up.
Gear coming up.
So, if I could climb and
Gear up. Doors locked.
we start to curve out the right to Campton. And I pitch down a little bit to accelerate 250 knots for the noise abatement procedure.
3, 2, 1, noise.
Okay. The reheats are switched off. And I put the auto throttle on.
3,000 feet.
Let's see if I can manage to not overshoot on the turn. Looks quite good.
Knots.
Looks not that bad. Okay, turn on autopilot. Following the VOR and the vertical speed. And I will increase the altitude now to 28,000 feet, so flight level 280. Okay. And as we are leaving the terminal area of the airport, we go for the after start checklist. That is the last checklist implemented for the moment.
After takeoff items.
Fuel trim 2, flight.
Okay, so and we turn off the takeoff monitor. So, okay, and as we are climbing, we accelerate to Mach 095. Unfortunately, I couldn't manage a good climb, so I cut the video at this point. I hope you enjoyed it till here. If you like to assist my work on Copilot procedures, please hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for the final procedures. Meanwhile, stay healthy, have fun flying, and as always, safe landings.